Committing to a career. What it takes to get the job, to get the career that you want. Welcome to jobferno, everybody. I'm 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐸, and today we're going to talk about what it really takes to have a career. Just imagine that you spend 4 years of your life working on a degree, taking classes, and frankly being really bored through the entire process. You spend hours upon hours, you rack up $60,000 in student loan debt, and you go through those 4 years coasting and telling people, yay, I'm getting a degree in psychology. And you keep going and you keep going, and you find out it's wonderful, it's the most amazing major ever. You've never been overly interested in the major or in the degree whatsoever. However, that is what you chose, and that's what you decide to continue with. And then one day you graduate, you throw your hat up in the air, you go home, you have the big graduation party, everybody's smiling, everybody's happy, and they say, what's next in life? And you say, oh crap, I don't really know. And then you spend about a year looking for a job. You've tried out an internship. You've worked a job that only pays $12 an hour. And you've tried to pay some of those student loan backs, but with your new rent bill and your new car payment, it's becoming quite difficult. You continue to browse on Indeed, you continue to watch lots of YouTube channels, you continue to do a lot of different things that'll help you figure out how to get a job in your field. And then one day, as you're talking to your best friend, they say, well, I found this job on Indeed, and it looks like, it's a great position for somebody with a psychology degree. And without really thinking, you knee-jerk react and you say, well, why the hell would I want to do that job? And in that moment, you knew that you want nothing to do with a psychology degree. You never wanted the damn thing in the first place. But you have it. And, at least you have a degree. At least you have a 4-year degree because it's a minimum requirement. It's kind of like having a high school diploma. At least you have the minimum requirements. You're at par. And then, year after year, you try to find another job. You find different jobs that pay different things. You got off the path. You're no longer using your degree. You're actually just working random jobs. You're going to the grocery stores. You're going to whatever darn place you can go to that'll actually hire you. And then before you know it, you have a family. And you say, how the heck am I going to pay for everything? How am I going to pay for food? How am I going to pay for, another car? How am I going to pay for all this stuff? How are we going to survive? Desperately, you take the credit card out of your wallet and you see the next coding camp that comes up. And you say, coding, those people make money. I could do that. Nervously, but anxiously, you type in the numbers on your credit card and you set the expiration date. And then as you hit the submit button, you cross your fingers and you hope, man, I sure hope that credit card payment goes through. You spend the next 6 months feeling good about yourself. You have gone through a coding camp. Through this time, you figured out how to write a for each loop and an if else statement. You've learned how to code different things, and you're actually doing it, and it feels good. Approaching the graduation of your boot camp, your friend calls you and says, hey, I see there's this great coding job. I think you've been doing coding, right? How about you apply for that? And you look at the job and go, yeah, I could do that. And you apply for the job. And then you apply for another job, and another, and another, and another, until you feel like you've exhausted all possible jobs within your area. No responses whatsoever. And then you get a call from a recruiter. The recruiter goes, hey, how's it going? I have a job and I just want to see if you're in the job market. And you say, yes, sir. Yes, I am available. I am ready to work. I'm ready to change my life. The recruiter goes, yes, yes. Internally, the recruiter is looking forward to potentially that this is the one. This is the one that's going to get them the paycheck that they've been waiting for. And then they ask, can you send me your resume? Anxiously, excited, You send your resume quickly over to the recruiter, and then the recruiter gets silent over the phone. Oh, they say, well, we are looking for somebody with 3 years of experience in this coding language. And you go, really? Well, I already know how to do for each loops, and I know how to do if then statements. And I kind of know my way around a SQL database. And the recruiter over the phone line says, well, unfortunately, the client is wanting somebody with more experience, but would you happen to know anybody that you can refer us to? Angrily, you push the button as hard as you can on your smartphone, and you say, well, hell no, I don't even know anybody. Why? I don't even know that recruiter. Why the hell would I refer anybody to that person? And then you plop yourself down on your couch, you turn on the baseball game, and you watch. And your brain seeps with anger, with hatred, with confusion. What do I do? What do I do? I thought I did everything right. I got a 4-year degree in psychology, and I admitted my mistake, and I decided to be a coder instead, and went to a coding camp and paid them thousands of dollars just so I could learn how to code. And in the end, I'm in no better situation now than I was when I graduated from college. And this, my friends, is what we call the real world. And so what does it take to get a job? What does it really take to get a job? Especially one that actually pays a decent amount of money. One that actually helps you and helps your family and builds the rest of your life. What does it really take? Does it take a piece of paper? Does it take a different piece of paper? Does it take certifications on a piece of paper? What does it take to actually get a job? Now, there are some industries, and a lot of these are more medical. There are some industries where all they really care about is the piece of paper. And you have to know that the job you are going after, is it a piece of paper type of job, or is it a merit-based type of job? In psychology, it's a piece of paper type of job, but you have to have the correct piece of paper. See, a psychology degree, a 4-year, is simply a stepping stone to the master's and to the PhD. Without a master's or a PhD in psychology, you've completely wasted your time and money. So psychology is a piece of paper degree. And then this person went to a boot camp to learn how to code, which is a merit-based type of job. And you have to know which one you're going into, which one you're diving yourself into. Because in a piece of paper type of job, all you have to do is get the correct piece of paper, and you're likely going to get a job and get a decent paying job. But in a merit-based line of work, a merit-based type of profession, it is about what you know and how much experience you have. And the degree is helpful. The piece of paper is helpful as far as getting your first job, but it is not the primary factor that determines whether you get the job and keep the job or have a nice long-term career. And so what does it take to really get a job? You have to know what job you're going after. You have to know what kind of career you want to have. You need to know whether it's a merit-based job or a piece of paper-based job. You have to know that going into it. And you have to be okay with one or the other. And you have to be okay with your line, with your direction. So if you're going to go into nursing, for example, it's a piece of paper type of job. Where, okay, there's probably a little bit of a merit to it, but for the most part, it's going to require specific pieces of paper and certifications. In coding and software development, it does not require any of that. It actually, this person probably wasted all their time and money on boot camps. When you are considering about going into a boot camp, just so you know, these are people, much like the colleges and universities, who are preying on your desperation. They know that you are so desperate that you will pay thousands of dollars to do a boot camp. Because in the end, you believe that experience, that boot camp will get you a job. It won't. What gets you a job in a merit-based system is experience, hard work, perseverance, all the things that you have to do as an adult. And so if you go to a boot camp and you learn how to code, a coding boot camp, the easiest way to get a job is to be friends with the people who are running the boot camp. If you're not friends with the people who are running the boot camp, you're not going to get a job. The next thing is you need to make sure that you are working hard and you are continuing to learn. That boot camp is not going to teach you everything you need to know. It's going to teach you a foundation. It's going to teach you things that you should know from a software development standpoint, but not everything you need to know. Not everything that you need to know to get a job because unfortunately, because you cannot bypass experience. There is no alternative. You can't just work harder and learn harder and find yourself better at coding. Unfortunately, it takes experience. And you cannot replace experience with anything else. There is no alternative. So what it takes to get a job, whether it's a piece of paper job or a merit-based job, is that you have to be dedicated. Dedication, dedication, dedication. That is the number one factor when it comes to picking a career, is you must be dedicated. That must be the only thing that you plan on doing. And you can't even have a side job while you do it because a side job detracts from your dedication. But if you are just starting out, you cannot do anything else. You must be dedicated. You must have it in your head that the only thing that you're going to do is that one thing. You must have a plan, you must have a job in mind, and you must know what the requirements are and whether it's feasible to get a job as an entry-level person. And this is where the failure happened in psychology. So once you are dedicated and you are committed to having a job, having a career, having something that fits you, and it is exactly what you need in life, that is when you make the decision. That is when you decide to go to college. That is when you decide to go to a boot camp or not go to a boot camp. The one thing that happens to people is they focus on the degree, they focus on the credential, they don't focus on the job. They have it reversed. They say, if I get the piece of paper, I get the job. The problem is that a lot of times the piece of paper doesn't have a job. And this is what we focus on at jobferno, is we focus on thinking about the job that you want. And then if you need a piece of paper, then you can go get the piece of paper. But so often we are tricked into believing that all we have to do is get a piece of paper and we're going to succeed. The real issue that we have in this country is that we don't prepare people for a real life. We don't tell them what it really takes to succeed, and we don't allow them the opportunities to succeed and to fail. And so we coast through K through 12 school. We go through the public schools. They don't really teach us anything. They teach us the basics, the basic knowledge, like what's 1 + 1? Well, it's 2. They teach us that sort of thing. And they could teach us the ABCs, but they don't teach us what it takes to succeed. And many of the job hunters that I work with are all in the same boat. They at one point or another believed that what the colleges was selling them was something of value, something that was going to help them, was something that was going to build their life. But it doesn't. It never does. The only thing you could ever do is to choose something, dedicate yourself to it, and work hard and achieve it. Because the next thing that causes failure is perseverance. Okay, you might dedicate yourself to a career. You might dedicate yourself to a job. You might do everything you need to get the job, but then you give up too easy. See, if you go into it knowing that there are jobs at the end of the rainbow, and you work and you work hard and you do everything you need to do, then you shouldn't have any problems getting the job. However, a lot of people, after they apply, after they go through Indeed a bunch of times, and they apply for all the jobs, and then they say, well, that's it. There are no more jobs in the world. There's no other route for me. I'm done. And that's the sad fact. Too many people just plain give up to get the job. Now, in my hypothetical example with the person with the psychology degree, if that person had simply said, okay, what do I need to get a job in psychology, to really get a job in psychology, one that I like and one that'll work well, they would have found options. That person could look online, look at all the different hospitals and see what kind of jobs are really out there. If that person had spent the time researching and finding all the companies that hire psychologists, and then, I don't know, job shadowing or being an intern or doing something with each job opportunity, with each company that is willing to work with them, that person may have been able to figure out a great job that will work for them, but they didn't. They gave up. And then when they switched to coding, coding is not for everybody. Everybody can do coding, but coding is not for everybody. You have to have it in your mind that you are going to be a coder. And if you are a career changer, meaning you went from one career to another to coding, you have to be fully dedicated and refuse to do anything else. In my case, when I did it, it took almost a year before I found my first job. I had to work a job, an unpaid internship as a web developer, basically just updating HTML and CSS before I was ever considered for an actual job. And then even with that experience, even with that time that I spent, I still got lucky. I still got really lucky. It was a miracle that I got that job. It changed my life and my family's life forever. It takes that level of dedication, that level of commitment. You work hard, play hard, and you stay committed. And in the end, you will get hired. That's it for today. I'm SP Graham. This is jobferno. If you have any questions, let me know. Send me an email at questions@jobferno.com. Again, as always, choose skills over money.